top 3 picks in 2022. That's what I want to start with. So I put the tweet out there, saw all the responses, did my best to figure out the top 3 most popular. And Jonathan Taylor, no surprise. Derrick Henry, I would say, was probably number 2. Maybe a little surprising. And number 3, a lot of EKELER, a lot of Cooper Kupp, who... Let's take a look at the points per game in PPR. This was a full PPR question, by the way. Points per game in PPR for the last 6 number 1 wide receivers, including Kupp this year. Antonio Brown in 2016, 20.5. Antonio Brown in 2017, 22 points per game. Devontae Adams in 2018, 21.8 points per game. It's gotten a lot better since then. Michael Thomas, 23.4 points per game in 2019. Devontae Adams blew him away, 25.7 points per game last year. And Cooper Kupp, 25.2 points per game. He's actually the highest scoring non-quarterback in fantasy and full PPR. So Kupp, I'll just give a few more names. Najee Harris, Javonte Williams got a few votes. Christian McCaffrey, Ben Schrager likes Christian McCaffrey 3rd. Justin Jefferson, and a few Jamar Chases out there as well. All right, Heath, your reaction.
My reaction was I don't think it will be Cooper Kupp. I don't think Cooper Kupp will be the number 1 wide receiver next season. I kind of think with Adam Thielen out of the picture, we're just going to see 13, 14 target Justin Jefferson every week for the rest of the year, and he's probably going to be the number 1 wide receiver going in next year. But my top 3 would probably be, I assume that we are assuming everyone has 100% health heading into next year. And so if that was the case, I think it would be Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry.
All right, Dave, how about you?
I like Taylor first. I like Derrick Henry second. I'm looking for the safest stud running back to take early on. So then you get to 3, and McCaffrey's a consideration, but I feel like we're going to get fooled by him again, aren't we? Look what's happened each of the last 2 seasons. He's been great when he plays, but he doesn't even play in half the games. That makes him a little bit tricky. If I'm really feeling whoever his backup is, assuming it's Chuba Hubbard, then I would have to really commit to making sure I get Hubbard on my squad. And I don't think I'd have to spend more than an 8th round pick to get him. So he could be 3. But I think if the Steelers make improvements to their offensive line and maybe to their passing game, that could help out Najee Harris and make him a more efficient running back, I think he's got the better profile to be 3rd. 2nd-year running back, obviously has a great pedigree coming out of college and was a great running back in high school in California, all that stuff. Young, still hasn't gone through a significant injury yet. If those things happen, I could see myself taking Najee ahead of Christian McCaffrey.
I even think there's room to debate with Derrick Henry. I want to get into that. Just so you know, Christian McCaffrey's played 7 games this year. I'm not counting the week 3 game.
Where he played?
He didn't play. I mean,
pretty sure people started him in their fantasy leagues that week.
Yeah, okay, fine. But if you just want to look at his healthy games, the games he didn't leave with an injury, he averaged well over 100 yards. I mean, he was on pace for 2,272 total yards and 112 catches in 16 games. So when he was healthy, he was Christian McCaffrey. It was really incredible. Henry, we talked a lot. We have been talking a lot about kind of the artificial 50 catch thing, and very, very few running backs have finished top 5 in any format over the last 5 or 6 years with fewer than 50 catches. Taylor's on pace to do that. You have to be a workhorse. But Henry, the catches went away. He had 14 catches in his first 4 games. He had 4 catches after that. And the guy was getting almost 28-ish carries per game. Or he was on pace for 438 carries. So I don't think that he was really deserving of the number 2 pick going into this year. He would have to get either more catches, which I don't really think is going to happen, or 25 plus carries, which just seems reckless at this point. Because last year he rushed for 2,000 yards, and I think he was the number 4 per game running back in full PPR. So I think 2 in full PPR. I know it's Derrick Henry, but I think 2 might be a little bit of a reach. I just can't really think of anyone with a better case. That's the problem.
And that's what fantasy managers are going to have to deal with. Is that okay? Number 1, Jonathan Taylor seems like a surefire thing. Who's number 2? Crap. Because all of a sudden now we do have warts on literally every other running back that's out there. You've got to think for a second about how the Titans and Panthers are going to evolve their offenses this offseason. Are they really going to give 25 carries per game to Derrick Henry, knowing that he just had this foot injury that sidelined him for half the year and may cost the Titans a playoff spot when it's all said and done? And the Panthers would be dumb to go right back to giving Christian McCaffrey all that work that gave him all those yards, knowing that there's a very high probability that he wouldn't make it through the next season.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. This is the problem with when we're apart like this. We're always stepping on each other. I'll wrap it up. I think that both teams are going to come up with some sort of a solution to take work off of both of these running backs. I think it's going to be easier for the Titans to do because they're finding out that Deontay Foreman can be a usable piece to their offense, and that'll help conserve that workload for Derrick Henry. I'm not sure if Chuba is the answer in Carolina, but if he is, then he's probably going to see 10 touches per game to try and work a little bit off of McCaffrey.
I was just looking because, they've got the curse of 370 thing, and that's people have been referencing that with Derrick Henry again this year, and running backs who have that many touches often falling off in the following year. But most, or at least the guys I've gotten to early in the count, a lot of these guys had the fall off year, but then their team went right back to giving them the ball 400 times again later in their career. And there is something to the fact of running backs who have held up to that type of workload in the past are generally the types of running backs who get that type of workload in the future. So I don't know between McCaffrey and Henry which one of them is more likely to see the same workload they had in the past. But I haven't seen anything out of Tennessee that suggests when Derrick Henry is healthy, they're going to do anything other than give him the ball 25 times a game.
Well, that'll pretty much wrap up this discussion. Please get on the Twitter thread. Let me know your thoughts. Ekeler, by the way, is number 2 per game. No, he's number 3 per game behind Taylor and Henry, but he's number 2 overall in both formats. He's got a great case and did not see any love for Alvin Kamara, but that's another name. He's still in his prime. And I just thought Eckler's year this year looks so much like an Alvin Kamara season from previous seasons. But, one difference, Ekeler does not share carries. They just don't run the ball very much at all. 3rd fewest carries in football. But
they've been so similar really since Ekeler took over as the starting running back in 2019 or started seeing a bigger workload in 2019. Kamara gets a little bit more work, but Eckler's been better so much better on a per reception and per target basis. I would take Ekeler over Kamara.